Welcome to latest News Blaster. Fans across the world were left heartbroken as beloved television host and culinary icon Rachael Ray delivered one of the most emotional messages of her career, confirming a life-changing health diagnosis that now forces her to step back from the spotlight, her long-running production commitments, and the daily rhythm of food, storytelling, and laughter that millions have followed for decades. The announcement came in a short but deeply personal message posted across her official platforms, where she appeared more fragile than usual, yet determined to speak honestly, sharing that the past months had been a whirlwind of doctor visits, testing, and moments of fear, reflection, and clarity. Though she chose not to reveal specific medical details, her tone made it clear that the journey ahead is serious, demanding all her energy, strength, and privacy, and that continuing her work at the fast-paced level she has maintained for years is no longer possible. For someone whose career has been built on warmth, energy, constant movement, and an unstoppable love for her craft, the shift was visibly painful. The moment she paused, holding back tears while saying this isn't goodbye forever, but it is goodbye for now, instantly triggered an outpouring from fans, colleagues, celebrity chefs, and industry peers who grew up watching her turn simple meals into stories, who felt guided by her down-to-earth personality, and who considered her a comforting presence during some of their own difficult times. In the hours following her announcement, thousands of emotional messages flooded social media, some sharing childhood memories of watching her cook with their families, some thanking her for teaching them confidence in the kitchen, and others simply expressing shock that someone so strong, cheerful, and seemingly unstoppable could suddenly be facing such a heavy personal battle. Inside sources close to her team described the decision to step away as something she fought internally for months, wanting to push forward despite her symptoms, even attempting to film small segments privately, but eventually realizing that her health had to take priority, especially after specialists urged her to slow down before the condition progressed further. Friends say she has been supported every step of the way by her husband, John Cusimano, who has reportedly rearranged his own schedule to be present during appointments and treatments. One longtime friend said, "Rachael is a fighter. She's scared, yes, but she's focused on healing, not hiding. She doesn't want pity, she wants time." Industry professionals say this marks the end of an era. Rachael Ray was not just a TV host but a cultural force who changed the entire landscape of lifestyle programming. Her ability to make cooking accessible to everyday people, her signature 30-minute meals format, and her joyful chaos in the kitchen redefined what cooking shows could be. Producers remember how she insisted on authenticity, often refusing retakes when something spilled or burned because she believed viewers needed to see the real moments, not the polished perfection that dominated food television at the time. That relatability is exactly why her farewell message has struck such a deep emotional chord. Audiences felt like they were losing someone who sat at their table, someone who became part of their daily routine, someone who made them laugh, taught them shortcuts, and reminded them that perfection isn't required to make good food or create good memories. In media circles, conversations have now shifted to what the future of her brand will look like, and whether the shows, cookbooks, and partnerships she built over decades will continue under her team's leadership or pause entirely. For now, sources say she has requested that all professional decisions be delayed until she gains clarity on her treatment plan. Several sponsors and networks have already expressed publicly that they fully support her decision and will honor whatever timeline she needs, with Food Network executives calling her irreplaceable, a sentiment echoed by millions who feel that her absence leaves a hole in the heart of daytime television. In her message, Rachael emphasized gratitude more than sadness, thanking fans for supporting her from her earliest days of teaching cooking classes in a grocery store to building a multimedia empire she never imagined possible. She spoke about moments that shaped her career, the first time someone recognized her on the street, her nervousness hosting live shows, the excitement of releasing her first cookbook, and the overwhelming love she received after her home fire years ago, which she said taught her that people are capable of unbelievable kindness. Toward the end of her announcement, her voice cracked as she said, "I don't know what the next chapter looks like yet, but I hope it includes all of you, someday, in some way." That single sentence is now being replayed and quoted across the internet, symbolizing both uncertainty and hope. Fans are already organizing virtual support chains, tribute videos, and worldwide prayer groups, with many insisting that her impact will continue regardless of her temporary retreat from public life. Analysts predict this moment may reshape the culture of celebrity wellness disclosures, as Rachael chose honesty over secrecy, vulnerability over curated perfection, reminding the world that even public figures face invisible struggles. As conversations continue and support grows, one thing is certain: Rachael Ray's legacy isn't ending, it's transitioning. She has inspired millions to cook courageously, live joyfully, and approach life with humor, resilience, and heart. This diagnosis may mark a difficult turning point, but her words, her influence, and her signature warmth will remain a source of comfort to fans around the world who now hope, pray, and wait for the day when she returns, healed, and ready to share the next chapter of her remarkable journey. Continuing the story, the atmosphere surrounding Rachael Ray's announcement has only grown more intense, emotional, and reflective, as millions attempt to process what her sudden, heartfelt farewell truly means for the larger world of television, cooking culture, and the countless people who grew up with her as a constant source of comfort. After her video went viral, several close colleagues shared that the emotional weight of her message was far deeper than the public realized, because Rachael had been quietly navigating physical challenges for months, while still trying to maintain her characteristic humor and optimism, refusing to let her pain overshadow the joy her viewers expected from her. According to those around her, the diagnosis forced her to confront the reality that she had been postponing rest for far too long, living in a non-stop cycle of filming, writing, traveling, hosting charity events, supporting animal welfare causes, and maintaining her beloved cooking brand. It became increasingly difficult for her to pretend everything was fine, especially during long shooting days where she had to pause mid-segment to regain her energy or steady herself between takes. Her team, who had worked with her for years and saw her resilience firsthand, reportedly advised her to stop pushing herself so hard. But Rachael, known for her stubborn dedication, initially refused, insisting she could power through the discomfort because she didn't want to disappoint fans or disrupt ongoing projects. That internal conflict, her desire to keep creating versus her body demanding rest, seemed to shape much of her emotional farewell, especially when she admitted she struggled to accept that stepping back wasn't a failure but a necessity. Privately, insiders say she cried multiple times while preparing the announcement, torn between fear and gratitude, trying to find the right words that wouldn't cause panic but would still convey the seriousness of her situation. When she finally filmed the message, those present say the room fell completely silent. Even the camera crew fought tears as she spoke, because for someone who had always been full of energy, mischief, and contagious enthusiasm, witnessing her vulnerability hit harder than expected. After the announcement, fans began sharing powerful stories about how Rachael's work shaped their lives. People overcoming loneliness through her cooking shows, children learning to cook through her 30-minute meals, and families bonding over recipes she created. Several viewers said her programs were their comfort after losing loved ones, while others credited her with inspiring their careers in culinary arts. The sheer volume of these messages shows how deeply she touched global audiences, not just as a chef, but as a human presence who made people feel seen and capable. Among the most emotional reactions were from those who grew up watching her with their parents or grandparents. Many explained that her shows were part of their childhood routines, making her announcement feel like losing a family member. Industry professionals also expressed their sadness, praising her for breaking barriers. She wasn't a classically trained chef, yet she became one of the most influential culinary personalities of the modern era through relatability, humor, and authenticity rather than perfection. Former staff members reminisced about her kindness on set, her habit of remembering people's birthdays, and the way she made interns feel as valued as top executives. One producer said, "Rachael never acted like a star, she acted like a teammate. That's why the world loves her. Her legacy expands far beyond television. Her cookbooks remain bestsellers, her product lines are in millions of households, and her philanthropy, especially her animal rescue work, has transformed countless lives. This is partly why her silence, following the announcement, feels so heavy." For someone who has always shared openly, her decision to retreat completely from social engagements shows the seriousness of her condition and her need to heal. Meanwhile, media speculation has intensified, though her team firmly denies exaggerated rumors and asks the public to respect her privacy. What has been confirmed is that Rachael currently spends most of her time at home, in a quiet, healing-focused environment, supported closely by her inner circle. She has stepped away from filming commitments indefinitely, paused upcoming cookbook plans, and turned down multiple interviews, choosing instead to embrace stillness, a lifestyle drastically different from the non-stop pace she maintained for years. Close friends say she has been journaling, cooking simple meals for comfort, reading old letters from fans, and spending quality time with John and their dog Bella. They describe this period as one of reflection rather than surrender. Rachael is reportedly doing everything she can to stay mentally strong while navigating her health journey, leaning on gratitude, humor, and hope. One friend shared that Rachael joked, "If rest were a recipe, I'd be terrible at it," but she's learning, slowly, that healing requires more patience than she's ever allowed herself to have. The entertainment and culinary industries are already discussing how her absence will reshape the landscape. Several networks have paused similar lifestyle shows, acknowledging that Rachael's unique charm cannot be replicated. Analysts predict a shift toward more grounded, authentic programming, inspired by the realness she became famous for. Meanwhile, fans have been hosting virtual tribute live streams, rewatching her classic episodes, and sharing their favorite Rachael moments. Some viral clips include her infectious laugh during live bloopers, her heartfelt speeches about community, and her famous "I'm not fancy" line that made millions feel like cooking didn't have to be intimidating. All these tributes reflect a collective grieving process, not because Rachael is gone, but because her absence feels deeply personal. International fans have also joined the wave, with viewers from Italy, Australia, the Middle East, and South America sending prayers, letters, digital artworks, and even cooking videos dedicated to her. Several restaurants have organized Rachael Ray nights, serving dishes inspired by her recipes, while fans write messages on memory boards and display them near their kitchens. It's a global reminder that Rachael's influence reached far beyond American television. She became a universal symbol of comfort, authenticity, and the joy of cooking. Her team released a brief statement saying she has seen some of the fan messages and is deeply moved, adding that the overwhelming support has lifted her spirits during challenging moments. Sources say that although she is not ready for public appearances, she hopes to send a thank you message in the future, but only when she feels emotionally and physically ready. Insiders also note that Rachael has been revisiting old footage of her early career, remembering the days when she filmed cooking classes in grocery stores and had no idea she would one day become a household name. This reflection has reportedly strengthened her determination to heal, so she can eventually return in some form, whether through writing, small digital appearances, or a scaled-down version of her previous shows. Her team has also confirmed that some of her ongoing charity projects, especially those helping families facing food insecurity, will continue under her direction behind the scenes, even while she steps away from the spotlight. Rachael has always believed that food connects people, heals communities, and brings comfort during hard times, making it symbolic that the world now offers that same comfort back to her. As days pass, the entertainment community continues to honor her, discussing her courage in being honest with fans instead of hiding her diagnosis. Several public figures have pointed out that her transparency may help reduce stigma around health struggles, encouraging others to prioritize themselves before work, fame, or expectation. And while her silence now feels heavy, it's also filled with the promise that healing takes time, and that time may eventually lead her back to the people who love her. The overarching sentiment across the world is simple: Rachael Ray is more than a TV host. She is a companion, a teacher, a storyteller, and a comforting voice who has helped millions through her warmth. Her journey ahead may be difficult, but she is surrounded by millions who refuse to let her walk it alone, continuing to send messages of strength, healing, and love. And although this chapter remains uncertain, her legacy, one built on heart rather than glamour, stands stronger than ever. The world waits, prays, and hopes, believing that someday when she's ready, Rachael Ray will return with the same light she has given to everyone for so many years.